Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're all familiar with the famous saying that optimism is a moral duty. I believe that, generally speaking, this is a good advice. But of course, optimism is not the same as being naive. Getting the world on track for a 1.5-degree future is not an easy task. We must be realistic. We must face up to all the difficulties and challenges that stand between us and the goals we agreed on in Paris. And there is no question we must pick up our pace. At the same time, we should acknowledge the progress made since 2015. For example, temperature projections are lower today than before Paris. And in the real economy, the energy transition is accelerating. With governments, industries and society working together in a true Muchirao, creating solutions that are feasible and affordable for all. Which brings me to my key message today, that there is hope in implementation, in delivering on promises made. We don't need more grand schemes or lofty words. What we need is concrete action on all the topics covered here in Belém, knowing that many small steps will eventually lead to the giant leap forward the world so desperately needs. The Kingdom of the Netherlands is ready to deliver. Take the pressing issues of climate finance. Last year, the milestone agreement of the new collective quantified goal reaffirmed the vast financial needs for developing countries when it comes to meeting their climate goals. The Netherlands continues to do its part, allocating 2.4 billion euros in climate finance in 2024. We firmly believe that climate adaptation needs to be center stage. That's why over 60% of our international public climate finance is directed at adaptation, with a focus on food security and water management. And it's why we applaud the COP presidency focus on adaptation. On adaptation, water management in particular is part of my country's DNA. This is the result of centuries of working across sectors to keep our feet dry in a country where large areas lie below sea level. We are a maritime nation. We are a kingdom that stretches from the North Sea coast in Europe to the island countries in the Caribbean. So we know how vital it is to adapt to rising sea levels and changing weather conditions. We know how vital it is to innovate, moving from traditional agriculture to climate-smart food systems. And we're eager to share our expertise in these fields with others. In today's world, water management, future-proof agriculture and renewable energy sources like hydrogen are becoming more and more interconnected. And that's a good thing, because it's putting us firmly on the path of green growth. With this in mind, the Netherlands is convinced that strengthening the NDC partnership can serve as a catalyst. After all, NDCs are at the heart of the Paris Agreement, and the EU has just finalized its NDC for 2035. We are determined, and will continue doing our part. We have also agreed to work towards 90% emission reduction by 2040. Our ambition level is clear. And since NDC implementation on water and food is lagging behind, the Netherlands is supporting the NDC partnership with an additional 10 million euros. Because again, we must focus on implementation. And that includes following up on decisions made in previous COPs. In this light, I applaud Brazil for its Tropical Forest Forever facility initiative. The Netherlands is proud to support this initiative and will contribute $5 million to help to get the fund off the ground. What's more, and I think even more important, is that I know that Dutch asset managers and large investors like pension funds are interested in taking part too. Now, is this fund all it will take to achieve the pledge we reaffirmed 2 years ago? To stop and reverse deforestation by 2030? No, of course not. We also need to address the root causes and work towards deforestation-free products. But it is an important step forward. And as I said earlier, every step counts and leads to something bigger. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us send a strong message to the world from here in Belém. If we continue the moral duty of optimism with realism and resolve, working step by step, we can and we will move closer to the Paris goals. The Kingdom of the Netherlands stands ready to work with all of you. Thank you.
Chamamos agora para a manifestação o primeiro-ministro de Papua Nova Guiné, James Marape.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. His Excellency, the Governor General of, I beg your pardon, Secretary General of the United Nations, President Lula, and all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Papua New Guinea, firstly and foremost, I want to thank President Lula, government of Brazil, and the people of Brazil for what a wonderful hospitality and a good meeting so far. Thank you very much for your hospitality. Good to be here in the city of Belém. Papua New Guinea has a good relationship with the city of Belém. It was here that our experts were trained through the Terra Amazon program to monitor deforestation and degradation skills that has helped us to build our own forest monitoring system, now the blueprint of our sustainable forest management. Brazil is not new to the conversation on environment and climate change. It was Rio de Janeiro in 1992 that birthed this contemporary conversation on environment and climate change sensitivities. Mr. President, I come here with one message: save our one livable planet by honoring our commitments for Papua New Guinea. Climate adaptation and mitigation is not a choice, it is a matter of survival. We call on all nations to act now, act responsibly, and honor our combined pledges. We all, human beings, have no second planet or no second chance if we destroy this one planet. For Papua New Guinea, we come here to join Brazil and all forest and ocean nations to offer solutions to the fight against climate change and save this planet. Whilst most of us forest and ocean nations have minimum carbon footprints, we are bigger climate victims, we are here also to offer solutions. Papua New Guinea joins the family of nations to offer solutions in the climate change fight. Solutions to fight climate change lies in forest and nature. That is why Papua New Guinea over 10 years ago championed Articles 5 and 6 of the Paris Agreement. Forests and oceans offer nature-based solutions and technologies to replenish Mother Earth, Mr. President. As a forest nation, just like Brazil is, Papua New Guinea safeguards 35 million hectares of pristine rainforest. These are lungs of the earth, and with many of our forest nations globally, in the Amazon basins, in the Congo basins, and us in Southeast Asia, we offer our forest for the sustainability of planet Earth. Our forest has been our livelihood, but this is also our contribution, our legacy to the world as we face this climate change diversity. We are implementing locally our nature, forest, and climate country package to help manage our forests better, introduce nature-based solutions, and mobilize innovative financings for all our communities that hold these forests. This initiative represents how local actions can drive global impact through example of the Mutirao spirit of collective actions that Brazil is known for. We are also advancing our National Earth Trees platform, aiming to issue very high quality jurisdictional REDD+ credits by year 2026. This could unlock potentially over $1 billion in carbon finance and reduce over 82 million tons of CO2, real variable results from a small nations like Papua New Guinea that holds a substantial forest. This morning I was inspired by the Director General of World Trade Organization, Dr. Iwala, who said correctly that the rainforests of the world produce atmospheric river that waters the planet Earth. Saving the forest saves the Earth, and I joined the Honduras President and others before me, including Brazilian President, who advocated for saving the forest as a solution to fighting climate change. With forests comes saving the oceans. In the forests and oceans, we have huge biodiversity, or biodiversity rather. Papua New Guinea is a mega hotspot for biodiversity. In our 462,340 square kilometers of land, or over 3 million square kilometers of ocean, we house over 7% of world's biodiversity. Very soon, we'll be depositing to the United Nations our ratification to preserve 30% of our ocean space from illegal fishing, from fishing and commercial use and exploitations. Our forests and our oceans have 7% of world's biodiversity. Sustainable use of our oceans and forests will save this planet. Nothing more, nothing less. We have come back to a full cycle here in Brazil since 1992 conversation on Rio de Janeiro. Brazil, you as the biggest forest nation on earth, we count on you for your leadership to drive conversation to ensure Article 5.2 and Article 6.2 is truly honored. Papua New Guinea rallies behind offering this simple nature-based solution. When we save our forests and when we save our oceans, that could help assist in the manner in which our planet is kept. We have talked about energy transition. Not too many nations have shut down fossil fuel. And I offer today in COP30, as we all work towards energy transition, why don't we save a tree? Why don't we save our oceans? Why don't we keep our biodiversity intact whilst technology compels us to go and look for solutions elsewhere? Papua New Guinea today point us back to nature-based solutions. Nature-based solutions that can help save the earth. The earth that we inherited from our ancestors in its natural pristine form is the earth that we must pass on to our children who will inherit the earth from us. This earth that has forests, this earth that has oceans, this earth that has biodiversity in its natural form will save us from the climate change controversy. In its conversation at COP30, Papua New Guinea stands behind Brazil and offers to the world a possibility of nature-based solution as a way to go in as far as fighting climate change conversation is concerned. I want to pause and thank all leaders who've been talking about keeping our earth together. I recall my meeting with His Majesty King Charles not too while ago. He mentioned about nature-based solution and saving forests and biodiversity and oceans of the earth. I thank him. I want to thank Chinese President Xi Jinping and the Chinese government. They have reforested. They have the leading nation now in as far as reforestation is concerned. Over 96 million hectares of land have been reforested by the Chinese government. I thank the United Nations Secretary General who continues to advocate for nature-based solutions and forestry and indigenous people and justice that must be rendered to them in as far as indigenous communities keeping of forestry is concerned. And I thank everyone else who advocate for nature-based solutions. Papua New Guinea is an ocean nation. Papua New Guinea is a forest nation. Our oceans and our forests combined can be solutions in as far as fighting climate change is concerned. And I thank also other stakeholders, private sectors who have assisted us. For instance, the Green Climate Change Fund that has assisted Papua New Guinea in forest resource conservation. I want to thank also ICRAF, or Coalition of Rainforest Nations. These are private sector people who have joined us in an effort to save our forestry. And I want to thank nations like France and Australia who've come in and helped conserve our forestry. Mr. President, as we talk about climate change, I want to say climate change conversation is totally redundant without nature-based solution. Without nature-based solution. Technology is redundant without saving our forest, without saving our trees, without saving our ocean. Papua New Guinea in our constitution, as we were birthed in 1975, the father of our country, Sir Michael Thomas Somare, talked about preserving our trees and sustainable development. It is this sustainable development that I am pointing to today, while science and statistics compels us to a planet that is warming. Why don't we turn back in simple things like saving our trees, preserving our biodiversity, saving our oceans. In nature, we can truly keep our earth in balance. And I put this to the forum of esteemed leaders here. Talk globally, go back home and act locally, and nature-based solution holds the key to preserving this earth. We inherited a livable planet from our ancestors. We must all work together to pass on a livable planet to our descendants. This planet is worth saving and fighting. You can look 96 billion light years into the extremity of the observable universe. You can never find one planet that is like our Earth. And so it is worth fighting for, it is worth defending, it is worth living a sustainable lifestyle. That is why Papua New Guinea will offer our support to Australia, and the biggest ocean nation, to host COP31, so that we bridge the conversation between forestry and ocean. And when we conserve our forestry and ocean resource together, we keep our earth in balance and save, and truly we can save the earth for our future generation. Thank you very much for listening. God bless those who work to save planet Earth.
Nesse momento, representando a Eslovênia, chamamos a vice-primeira-ministra e ministra das Relações Exteriores e Europeias, Tanja Fajon.
Honorable President Lula da Silva, Honorable Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves at the crossroads today. COP30 is not just another checkpoint. It is a credibility test for the Paris Agreement. The next generation, nationally determined contribution will decide the pace of decarbonization through 2030s and the future of our planet. Our task here is straightforward: turn the global stocktake into implementation and keep 1.5 degrees Celsius within reach. The European Union has submitted its updated NDC, fully aligned with this goal and reflecting our collective commitment to accelerate emission reductions, strengthen resilience, and lead by example on the path to climate neutrality. To achieve these actions are needed at the global, national, and local level. Slovenia counts itself among more ambitious countries. At the UN level, Slovenia has been active in the Climate Security Mechanism initiative and will contribute to actively engage in its joint steering committee. As a non-permanent member of a UN Security Council and together with like-minded members, we put climate, peace and security firmly on the Council's agenda. Recognizing that climate crisis is also a water crisis, Slovenia has actively promoted the recognition of the role water plays in climate adaptation and mitigation. The global water cycle is spinning out of balance. Stabilizing it is key in terms of effective climate action and global water security. Another aspect of our global engagement is our action. grounded in rights and equality. Gender equality and human rights-based approach is embedded in our climate law and our climate diplomacy. This is aligned with the International Court of Justice, reminder that human rights are inseparable from climate outcomes and that states have a duty under international law to act on climate change. The right to a clean, healthy and sustainable environment must be our North Star, and gender equality should continue to be considered in the climate change processes and actions. Finally, financing underpins everything. For Slovenia, climate finance is climate justice. The bridge from pledges to impact. We have been increasing our climate finance in the past years and are committed to continue doing so. At the national level, Slovenia comes with aligned policies at home and proves small countries can lead big change. In July this year, we adopted our first national climate law, a framework to safeguard quality of life, support a resilient economy, and protect long-term security as climate risks intensify. It sets a legally backed commitment to climate neutrality by 2045 at the latest and builds a governance system where an independent scientific advisory board informs policy and monitors delivery. The first report on climate change mitigation and adaptation, as required by the climate law, was prepared last month. The main messages of the report is that Slovenia is on track to meet our emission reduction commitments, and that although additional effort will need to be made, this can be done in a just and fair manner. At the national level, Slovenia also pays great attention to nature protection, among others with respect to forest, biodiversity and water management. Alerted by the reports that by 2050, globally, 50% of the today's species will be extinct, the Slovenian government initiated the process of preparing a national plan for nature restoration. And by striving for ambitious climate agenda globally, supported by coordinated national policies, is not enough to make substantive progress in adaptation and mitigation of climate change. Implementation and awareness raising are the key to progress. And in that regard, activities at the local level play an important role. A climate office that connects stakeholders at the municipality level was established in Slovenia in November 2024. And it supports local communities and regions in adapting to climate change and helps the state understand local needs and conditions. At the same time, it strengthens understanding, awareness and support for municipalities and regions through targeted knowledge transfer. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are still hearing voices of climate change skepticism. However, scientists, as well as the current increase in frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, are telling us a different story. Climate change is real. It is happening already now. It is aggravating existing vulnerabilities and increasing inequalities. To make progress, acting alone will not bring success. We will reach our climate goals only if each of us acts and contributes. Let this COP be remembered for delivery of ambitious and scaled finance and faster adaptation. Slovenia stands ready to partner with all who share this purpose, and despite uncertain times, multilateralism can still prove its worth, and we must choose to use it now. Thank you.
chamamos para manifestação o primeiro-ministro de Eswatini, Russell Missor Dlamini.